Talent management is the procedure of recognizing an open position, employing a suitable candidate, developing the candidate's skills and expertise to match the position, and retain him to meet long-term strategic goals. Talent management is not just a buzzword or a checklist of requirements. It is a strategy that requires careful execution, regular monitoring, and continuous improvement. Through this course, we will understand all these essential aspects of talent management, and we will also learn how talent management is different from talent acquisition and talent pipeline. So stay tuned and learn all that you can about talent management. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any query or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.
Hello, my name is Shantanu Rana, and today I am going to teach you this course on talent management by Great Learning. So whenever we talk about any organization, human resource management is a very important part of it. And in human resource department, talent management is a very important function. A lot of people think that talent management is all about hiring people, taking interviews, group discussions, selecting people, onboarding them into the organization. But that's not all. Definitely, all these things are included in talent management, but still it is much more than that. Talent management is not just a buzzword, it is much more than that, and that is something we are going to explore in this particular course. We will be seeing what exactly is talent management, what are the different steps, processes involved in it. All these things we will be exploring in much more detail. So let's not waste any time and directly move to the agenda, where I'll be showing you what exactly we are going to cover in this course, one after the another. So as you can see on the screen, the first thing that we are going to discuss in this particular course is Introduction to Talent Management, where I'll be showing you what exactly is talent management, and then I'll be telling you what is the importance or the benefits of talent management for any organization. Then talent management process, then talent management strategy, HR planning, which is also known as manpower planning, then recruitment and selection. We'll also be seeing how the tasks involved in recruitment are different from the tasks involved in selection. We'll also be differentiating these two terms, that is recruitment and selection, from onboarding. Then talent acquisition and what is the benefit of building a talent pipeline, that is the next thing we will be discussing. Then employee engagement and retention. We'll actually be seeing what exactly is a satisfied employee, what exactly is a committed employee, and finally what exactly is an engaged employee, and how it helps in retaining a particular employee in a particular organization. And then finally, at the end of this course, we will be discussing certain critical issues, or you can say challenges, of talent management. So these are certain things that we are going to cover in this particular course, one after the another. Now let me tell you what exactly is talent management. So as you can see on the screen, what is talent management in HRM? What is HRM? Human resource management. So talent management is defined as a constant process of attracting and retaining high quality personnel, expanding their abilities, and consistently motivating them to enhance their performance, keeping organizational goals in mind. Whenever you talk about any organization, there is some vision, some mission, some core values of the organization. Whatever you do within that organization, be it in the sales department, be it in the HR department, marketing department, any other team, we have to keep one thing in mind, and that is the organizational goals. Whatever the organizational goals are, whatever the organizational objectives are, everything should be aligned with that. Same goes for talent management too. Talent management is all about attracting and retaining high quality people. For any organization, there are so many resources, so many inputs that we have to use. Maybe so many machines, maybe so many processes, so many softwares. And at the same time, at the center of this all, we have one thing, a very important resource for any company. That is the people, human resources. Now, attracting those people, retaining those people within the organization, all of that is nothing but part of talent management. Expanding their abilities. Whenever you hire somebody in an organization, It's not important that they should know each and everything about their job role. Whenever a job vacancy is filled, a particular job profile is filled, that does not mean that the person who is hired will know each and everything. There will always be some mismatch between the competencies which are actually required and between the skills that the person is possessing. We have to fill that gap as well. That is nothing but expanding their abilities, increasing their knowledge, skills about the particular job role, then consistently motivating them. If you are hiring people but after 1 or 2 months they all are leaving, there is no point of that. Important is you hire people and then you retain them. They should feel invested in whatever they are doing. They should feel motivated so that they stay. Because when you hire somebody, when you hire human resources for any team, for any organization, there's a lot of cost, energy, time, and money that you have to give as a manager or as an organization. So this process you cannot repeat every day. So you have to make sure that whenever you are attracting people, you are selecting people, they are working, they are motivated, and at the same time, you have to make sure that they are engaged, they are motivated to work, they feel positive at the workplace, and they retain in the organization. Because if you attract, you hire good people, high quality personnel, but eventually they leave the organization, there is no point of that. So all these things, attracting people, retaining people, that to high quality personnel, expanding their abilities, consistently motivating them, making them feel seen, heard, all of that is nothing but part of talent management. Now, this process involves identifying talent gaps, sourcing and onboarding suitable candidates, developing needed skills in the hired candidates, then effectively engaging, retaining, and motivating employees. The first thing is you have to find the talent gaps. This is a part of HR planning, which we will be discussing in the later half of this particular course. But as of now, you can just understand that whenever you talk about hiring, first of all, you should have a plan. You have to see that how many people we currently have. Then you have to see how many people are actually required. You find that talent gap, and then based upon that, you make your hiring plans or staffing plans. Then sourcing and onboarding suitable candidates. You cannot hire anybody randomly. You have to see that what are the skills which are required for that particular job role. You have to do the particular job evaluation by taking feedback from the current employees, managers. Once you do the job evaluation, you have to make the job description, which is known as JD. Once the JD is ready, then you go for sourcing and onboarding. Sourcing, first of all, you'll attract the people. Once they'll apply, they'll send their resume, you'll take interviews, screening, group discussion, several round of interviews, some tests, psychometric tests. All of this will be part of recruitment process. Once that is done, then the onboarding. Once the onboarding is done, then training and development of those hired candidates. And eventually you have to make sure that they are all engaged, they are retained, and they are motivated to work. All of these things are included in talent management when you talk about any organization. Now let's try to understand that what exactly is the importance and benefits of talent management for any organization. Why do we need to focus on talent management particularly? Why don't we focus on sales? Why don't we focus on marketing rather? Because that is where we are getting the revenue from. Why do we have to focus on talent management? Because this is also connected to revenue. This is also connected to competitive advantage for any organization indirectly. Let's explore that. As you can see, the first point says improvement in business performance. Just imagine if you do not hire the right person for the right job. Definitely they will not be able to work properly. There will be a huge mismatch between the skills which are required and between the skills that those people are possessing. And in that case, the quality of work will decrease. And eventually the performance of the organization will also be bad. So you have to make sure that you hire the right candidate for the right job at the right time to make sure that you are sustaining, you have the competitive advantage in the market space, and at the same time, there will be improvement in your business performance as well. So all of these things are connected to the revenue eventually. So your organization will definitely do in terms of numbers, in terms of sales, in terms of anything, in terms of the culture that will be maintained in the organization if you hire the right people at the right time within the right skill set which is required for that particular job role. Then prepare companies to stay competitive in the market. Prepare companies to face changes and risks. Change is a part of day-to-day life. If you talk about today's world, there's COVID situation, and each and every process, each and every system has been changed because of that. So if you won't hire people who are capable of adapting to that change, it will be a huge problem. So to make sure that changes will always be there, but we need people who are flexible, who can adapt according to those changes. That is also part of talent management, and it's definitely one of the very important part of talent management, because if the people are flexible, they will adapt to changes and eventually they'll keep on doing good for the organization, for their personal growth as well as their professional growth. Then drive innovation and creativity. If there are high quality personnel who are hired for a particular job role, there will be innovation, there will be creativity, then improvement in productivity, strong employer branding. So all these will come as benefits of talent management. So we can easily say that talent management is extremely important for any organization. So now that you have understood what exactly is talent management and what is the importance of talent management for any organization, it is time for you to understand the talent management process, how this entire process works, what is the first step, what is the last step. All of that we will be discussing in this module. So as you can see on the screen, there are 6 main steps or 6 processes when we talk about talent management. Number 1 is planning, then attracting, then selecting, developing, retaining, and transitioning. And it can be a cycle. It's not very linear. It can be cyclic as well. We will be seeing how that works. So let's start with planning first of all. The very first step when we talk about talent management is planning. So in planning, as we have already discussed too, identifying the talent gaps is the major thing. You have to see how many people you currently have. Then you have to see how many people are actually required to do that particular task, particular project. And then based upon that, you make your staffing plan and you hire people. For example, let's say there is some project X on which we require 10 people, but actually we have only 8 people. So there is a gap of 2 people. Now we need to hire 2 people. That is what identifying the talent gaps is all about. It can also be in terms of skills, that these are the skills which are required by the people. But the skills which the people are possessing, that will be different. So we need training and development programs for that. So there will always be gap in terms of talent, in terms of skills, and that has to be filled. So that is nothing but part of planning. Then job evaluation, job description. What is that? First of all, you have seen that, okay, these many people are required for this particular task. So you have to hire those people, but you cannot directly go and start hiring. You have to make a particular plan for that. You have to do the job evaluation. You have to see that what exactly are the skills, what are the knowledge, abilities which are required by a particular person in order to fit in that particular role. Let's say the HRs want to hire for software engineer role. So there will be certain skills which are required. Similarly, if they want to hire for sales role, there will be different skills which will be required. So you have to note down all those skills. You have to have a job description ready, which is also known as JD. Whenever you apply for any organization, for any job role, you can always ask for a JD, that is job description. And that will give you an idea about the particular job role, that what will be your work when you will start working in that organization. So when we talk in terms of the HRs, they have to evaluate a particular job, they have to prepare a JD. All of this is nothing but part of planning. So there are 3 main things in planning. First of all, you have to identify the talent gaps, that how many people we currently have, how many are actually required, what is the gap. Based upon that, we make the staffing plans. Then you have to evaluate the job. Based upon that evaluation, that analysis, you have a JD ready, that is job description ready. Now once that is done, then we move to the second step, which is nothing but attracting. Now the plan is ready. You know how many people are to be hired. You know what are the skills that you need in those people. Now you have to attract people. So there are 2 ways for that: internal sources or external sources. If you talk about external sources, that means you can attract people through job portals, social networks. For example, if you want to get into any company, there are so many online portals that you have where you can go and apply to those jobs. So that is one way of hiring people, of attracting people. That's an external method. Similarly, we can use our internal sources as well, the employees of the companies, and we can ask for referrals. For that, they can get some monetary or non-monetary benefits too. So that is the second step, which is attracting people, attracting the candidates. Once that is done, then we go for the third stage, which is selecting. Now there will be, let's say, 1,000 people who have applied to a particular job role, but we cannot hire all the 1,000 people. We need to select, we need to filter who are those people who will be actually fit in that particular role. That is nothing but you're selecting. Now in selecting, we can do group discussions, we can do interviews, we can do psychometric tests, aptitude tests. All these processes for screening are nothing but a part of selection. As you can see also, finding the right match for the job is the main aim for selection process. Then resume selection, written test, aptitude test, psychometric test, group discussions, interviews. Once all of that is done, we will filter people, that these are the people who actually are culturally and skill wise fit for that particular role. So this is the third step, selection. Once that is done, we move to the fourth step, which is developing. Whoever you have hired, it will never be the case that they will have all the skills. There will always be some mismatch, some gap between the skills that they possess and the skills which are actually required. Let's say you have hired a person for the sales role and 10 skills are required for that role. It will never be the case that they will have all the 10 skills. Maybe they have 6 skills out of those 10, maybe they have 5 skills out of those 10, maybe they have 9 skills out of those 10, but those remaining skills you have to develop. You have to enhance their abilities in those terms. How do you do that? By your training and development programs. So that's a part of developing. Effective onboarding, growth through coaching and mentoring, then enhancing the skills and aptitude of employees. Once they are fully trained, then they will start working. Then comes our fifth step, which is extremely important, retaining. Whenever you hire somebody, there's a lot of energy, lot of time, money that you're putting in that person. So you do not want people to get hired and then immediately leave your organization. You have spent a lot on their training, on their development, in onboarding, in each and everything. So you do not want people to leave immediately or leave after a short period of time. If you have trained somebody, definitely as an HR, as an organization, you would want those people to stay in your organization and to improve their abilities further. For that, retention is extremely important, which is also known as employee retention. So offering opportunities for growth, that should be one thing. Rewards and recognition, performance benefits, appraisals, people should get all those things so that they are motivated to work, they are invested in what they are doing, and eventually they can retain within the organization. Promotions, increments, all those things should also be part of the plan so that people that you have hired should stay in your organization, should work for long. Then comes the last stage, which is transitioning. Definitely people will retain, but there will be a time when people will actually leave from the organization due to various reasons. That will always be the part of for any organization, for any team. So conducting effective interviews, especially exit interviews, then effective succession planning, which is also known as your planning for the next leadership basically. So if there's one particular role that you have and there's one person who's leaving that role, so you should plan that who is going to take that role further. Who will be that group of employees or employees who can take that particular role. That is a part of your succession planning. We'll be discussing about these things in the later half of this particular course as well. So these are the 6 main steps which forms your talent management. Starting from planning, where you plan, you identify the talent gaps, you evaluate the job, then you make a job description or the JD ready. Once that is done, then you attract people through internal or external sources. Then you select people through screening, interviews, and all the other processes such as group discussions, tests. Once that is done, then you train and develop those people, those who are hired. Then you make programs planning for their retention so that people that you have hired should retain in your organization as well. And finally, once they have to leave, you plan for their exit interviews, you plan for effective succession planning as well. So these are the 6 key points, key areas which are included in talent management. Alright, now let's talk about talent management strategy. We have already seen that talent management is not just a buzzword. It is a strategy that requires careful implementation, careful execution, regular monitoring, and continuous improvement. It is not a list of checklists that you will have to follow as an HR. It is rather a strategy that you will have to implement very carefully with continuous improvement and with regular monitoring. You have to see, you have to take feedback, you have to improve it continuously. That's what talent management is all about. And then only you will be able to make sure that there is a competitive advantage organization will have if you follow those strategies. So I have listed down 5 major strategies that you should definitely try to implement here. The 5 primary talent management strategies are: number 1 is detailed job evaluation. If you are hiring for a particular profile, you should definitely know what exactly is the eligibility criteria for that. What are the skills required for that role? What is the educational qualification which is required for that particular role? All these things should be very clear to you in a very detailed manner. If you do not know what exactly are the skills required, what exactly are the abilities, knowledge required for a particular role, you will never be able to hire a right person for that role. For example, let's say you want to hire somebody for the role of business development associate. So you should know what exactly are the skills required for that, what exactly are the knowledge, abilities required for that. Once you'll have a clear idea about that, then you can attract people and you can hire the right person for that particular job role. So you can take feedback from the current employees, current managers to have a detailed job evaluation, and then accordingly you can prepare the JD or the job description. That is one very important thing. Then second is person organization fit. Whenever you are hiring somebody, you don't have to hire the CV or the resume. You have to hire that person. So not just based upon their performance or based upon their technical skills we can go. We have to also see what exactly is the attitude of the person. Will that person be able to fit in the organization or not? Is that person right for that particular job role or not? There will be people who are right for a particular type of job role, but maybe you are looking for somebody who's more flexible than them, who's more hardworking than them. So those things also you have to evaluate, not just in terms of technical skills, but also in terms of soft skills, so that you can actually see that whether a person will be fit for that organization, for that role or not. Then the third one is collaborate, coach and evolve. You always have to see that the person that you are hiring should be easy to work with. They should have the ability to collaborate with people. They should have the ability to work with the team, so that you can actually, make them work with the team and they can start working, and eventually the team will be diversified, the innovation will be more, creativity will be more. And never expect that one person will be knowing each and everything. There will always be some gap between the skills which are required and the skills that they actually have. So there will always be some room for improvement. So coaching and then further evolving them will be part of the training and development. But when you are hiring them, don't just hire the person that they have shown on their resume, but hire the person that they actually are, for their personality, for the soft skills that they have. That should also be included in the planning that you are doing for hiring people. Then reward and recognition, definitely that will motivate people, that will make them feel seen and heard. They will be engaged in what they are doing. Then feedback and reviews. If the feedback is not given, people will not have direction. They will not know whether they are doing something right or wrong. So feedback should definitely be a part of it. 360-degree feedback should definitely be there. How to give constructive feedback, those things should also be part of the training and development programs. Reviews should be there, peer reviews, then reviews for the managers, for each and everyone, employees, so that everyone is completely aware about their performance. People should have those abilities, they should know where they stand, and then there should be some room for improvement, which you can fill through training and development programs. So these are certain strategies that should definitely be part of your talent management plan. All right. Now let's talk about the first step of the talent management process, which is HR planning, also known as manpower planning. HR planning or human resource planning entails putting the right number of people, the right sort of people, in the right place, at the right time, doing the right things and achieving organizational objectives. Human resource planning is very simple to understand. In very simple words, it is the practice of estimating the optimal number of employees required to complete a project, job or objective on time. Let's say there's a project. Let's call it project X. To do project X, you require 10 people. But now you see that we actually need 10 people, but we have 11 people. Definitely there's one extra person. So that's not a very good planning. That's not very good optimization. Similarly, if for a particular task, 10 people are required, but we have only 8 people. That means there's a lack of 2 people. We need 2 more people. So these kind of gaps should not be there. That's what optimization is all about. So for a particular role, if 5 people are required, we should have 5 people. If 10 people are required, we should have 10 people. There should not be anything extra. There should not be anything less. That will make sure that we have planned each and everything properly. So what is the need for HR planning? Shortages and surpluses can be identified, allowing for prompt action whenever it is needed. So if you do the proper HR planning, you evaluate a particular job, you see what are the skills required for that job role, you see how many people are required to do that job role, then that means you will get to know whether we have extra people or we have lack of people. Based upon that, you can make decisions. So if we have less people, then we can hire more people, we can have a staffing plan. Similarly, if we have more people, then maybe we can shift people from one project to another, or maybe we can start with some retirement plans or something. So there are so many ways that we can find out, but first thing that we have to find is surpluses and the shortages. So this can easily be identified with HR planning or manpower planning. Then it also helps in reducing the labor cost by identifying excess staff and hence avoiding unnecessary resources. Definitely you will be able to save a lot of money and time. The team will be more productive if we have proper HR planning done. Then HR planning underpins all recruitment and selection programs. You can never go about recruitment and selection without proper HR planning. If you do not know what kind of people you have to hire, you can never hire the right person. To do the right type of job, you have to make sure that you evaluate the job properly and then you start with the recruitment and selection plan. So first thing that you have to do is HR planning. You have to see how many people are required, what are the skills which are required by the people. Once that evaluation is done, then you make plans for recruitment and selection. So it is a very, very important input when it comes to recruitment and selection. Then when resources are used to their maximized potential, productivity rises. Definitely if we go with HR planning, we have a very good advantage of increasing the productivity, because if 10 people are required to do a particular job and if we'll have only 10 people, the productivity will eventually increase. We will be able to improve and the organization will definitely have a competitive advantage. So what are the main steps which are included in HR planning? Number one, analyzing the organizational goals, so that whatever planning we are doing, that should be aligned with the organizational objectives. Then analysis of the current manpower inventory, that how many people we currently have to do a particular job. Then future manpower forecasting, that how many people will be required to do that particular job. Then estimating manpower gaps, that what exactly is the gap between that future and the present inventory that we have. Then formulating the final action plan, that how are we going to fill that gap. Do we have like 10 people for a job for which 11 people are required? How are we going to hire that one person? Then planning for that, and then finally monitoring and feedback. It's not that once you'll implement HR planning, it will be the best. You can always do better than that. So always take feedback, monitor, and then eventually implement your learnings for the next case scenario, for the next project, next hirings. So that's how these steps involved in HR plannings actually takes you to a place where your organization can have competitive advantage in the marketplace. All right. So now that we have understood what exactly is HR planning or manpower planning, it is time for us to discuss what exactly is recruitment and selection. So as you can see on the screen, let's look at this diagram where we move from job vacancy to onboarding. So how this entire process works. If you talk about talent management, first of all, what you see in the company, in the organization is that you have a job vacancy. So let's say you have a job vacancy that you need to fill. That is the first thing. Once you know that there is a job vacancy, you'll do the job analysis, which is a part of job evaluation. Once the job analysis is done, then you write the job description. That is, these are the skills which are required for this particular role. The person who will be hired for this role will have to do all these tasks. Once the job description is ready after the job analysis or evaluation, then you go for sourcing and advertising. That is attracting people. You go through external sources or internal sources. Once the sourcing and advertising is done, you have to select people. For that, you will take interviews, group discussions, tests. Once all of that is done, the screening is done, you finally select people, you give them the offer of employment, and once then they are hired, then the onboarding starts. So this is the main process and that's how it works. So where is the recruitment part in this? Where is the selection part in this? And where comes the onboarding part in this? So the first thing that you are doing is recruitment. Now what is recruitment? It is the process of finding candidates for the vacant post and attracting them to apply for it. It is not selecting the people. It is not taking interviews. It is just about filling the vacant post and attracting people to apply for that job. So it is about attracting people. Then what is selection? Selection is the process of selecting the best candidate from a pool of candidates and extending an offer of employment to them. Let's say you have a job vacancy and you attracted 1,000 people to apply to that job. So all the 1,000 people who have applied to that job, that is a part of recruitment. But now we cannot take all those 1,000 people. From those 1,000 people, let's say you need only 10 people that you actually need to hire. Now, how will you select those 10 people out of that pool of 1,000 people? That will be selection. Maybe through interviews, through tests, through group discussions, psychometric tests, aptitude tests. All of those are nothing but part of selection. Once the selection is done, we give the offer of employment to those people and then we start with the onboarding. Now, what is onboarding? It is the process of integrating a new employee into the company's culture and providing them with the tools and information they need to become a productive member of the team. If you hire somebody, we cannot expect them to know each and everything about the organization. We do not expect them to know each and everything about the rules, regulation of the company. So we have to train them on that. Whatever the competency gap is there, we have to fill that through onboarding. So effective onboarding is also extremely important. So these are the three main processes that we have. So generally, in terms of layman, we can call this entire process selecting people. But actually you have to remember that recruitment is different, which is about attracting people to apply for a particular job role. Then comes selection, which is about selecting people from a pool of large number of people so that we can find the best suit for a particular job role. Once people are hired, then we start with the onboarding. So if you look at this small diagram that we have given at the end of the screen, job vacancy, then you do the job analysis, you write the job description, then sourcing and advertising. These four steps are nothing but your recruitment. Then assess and interview candidates and selection and offer of employment. These two steps are part of selection, where you are selecting people from a large number of talent set that we have. We are selecting a few who are the right fit for that particular job role. And then finally, once the offer letter is given to those people, we start with onboarding. So these are the three processes that we have. Now let's see how the tasks involved in recruitment are different from the tasks involved in selection. As you can see, so when we talk about recruitment, examining the job specifications, we have to know what exactly are the skills required, what are the specifications of the job that we require. We have to examine that. But in selection, we generally talk about screening. Similarly, in recruitment, we talk about posting the job opening, maybe on online portals, social media, so that we can attract people. Then getting people to apply for positions and keeping track of their responses, examining the applications, making a short list of candidates. So that is all part of your recruitment, where you are attracting people to apply to a particular job role. Once that is done, then we start with selection, where out of the people who have applied to a job role, we have to select a few who will be the right fit for the particular job role. So screening, taking interviews, conducting a test, checking references or medical test, all of that will be part of your selection. So if 1,000 people have applied to a job role, that is recruitment. Out of that, if we have to select 20, that will be selection. We do selection by conducting a test, interviews, group discussions. All of these are nothing but different tactics, different tools that we have to select people from a large talent set that we have. So we easily have to remember that when we say recruitment, it's about attracting candidates to apply to a job role. Once they have applied, we have to select the right person. That is part of selection. Once that is done, we have to make them feel as if they are a part of the organization, and that we do by onboarding. We have to tell them each and everything about the organization, the rules and regulations, the history, each and everything about the organization, so that they feel that they are also the part of the organization and they can eventually start working. All right, now let's try to understand what exactly is talent acquisition. We have already understood what is recruitment, selection, and onboarding. Similarly, we have a broader concept which is talent acquisition. Recruitment is in fact a subset or a part of talent acquisition. But the only difference between recruitment and talent acquisition is that recruitment is more like a one-time activity, but talent acquisition is an ongoing activity. In recruitment, we generally focus on the immediate openings, immediate job vacancies. But in talent acquisition, we do not focus on immediate opening, rather it's an ongoing process that is always about continuous improvement. Let's try to have a look at the definition of talent acquisition. As you can see on the screen, talent acquisition is described as an ongoing HR activity to attract skilled and competent workers in alignment with an organization's broader business goals or business objectives, regardless of immediate opening. It's about branding. The employer is trying to brand about the organization or the firm that they are a part of. Here we consider the candidates as consumers. So we start with inbound marketing. That simply means it is a part of digital marketing where we are making the candidates to reach out to us. Maybe we are writing some content, some blogs, we are uploading some videos on some platform through social media where we are attracting people so that those people, those candidates can find us. In outbound marketing, we are trying to reach out to those candidates. That is the only simple difference between inbound and outbound marketing. In inbound marketing, the consumers reach out to us. In outbound marketing, we reach out to the consumers. Then filtering and selection happens where the tests are conducted or maybe interviews are taken, group discussions happen. All of that is part of filtering and selection because we have a sales funnel. If you talk in terms of marketing or sales, we have a sales funnel. The area is bigger at the top, but as we go down the funnel, the area keeps on decreasing. Same is the case with talent acquisition. If we are trying to hire people in our organization, a lot of people will apply. First of all, a lot of people will be attracted through inbound marketing. There are very few people will be reached out by the HRs. Then filtering will happen and the number of people will keep on decreasing, and eventually we will reach at the end of the funnel where the main aim is to find the top talent and the right fit for a particular job vacancy. So it happens through inbound marketing, then outbound marketing, then selection, filtering, then finally conversion, onboarding. And as I already told you, it's a continuous improvement. If one recruitment cycle happened and later on we are going for another recruitment cycle, we'll have to take learning from the previous cycle. We have to implement those learnings so that we can keep on improving. That's what talent acquisition is about. Now let's try to look at some of the best practices for talent acquisition. Number one, hire the person, not the CV. What does that mean? When we talk about a CV or a resume, that simply means we will get to know about the skills or the performance of the particular candidate. But we will never get to know the attitude of that person, whether that person will be a fit for that organization or not. That is something that we'll have to figure out. So definitely we have to pay attention to the CV, but at the same time, do not forget that just one CV is not enough. When it comes to hiring a person, it is much more than that, and we have to look at several other aspects as well. Then look for potential, not just for performance. Maybe somebody has done extremely well in the previous organization, but maybe they are not the right fit for your organization. So we have to understand the differentiation, and based upon that, we have to make the hiring decision. Then prioritize internal referrals, because if we go with the internal referrals, we will have surety that those people will definitely retain because they already have some kind of understanding about the organization. They definitely must have heard about the organization from the current employees. Then advertise intelligently and strategically so that you can attract the talent eventually. So that is the main aim of talent acquisition, and these are some of the best practices that you should definitely try to implement when you are making a talent acquisition pipeline or a talent acquisition plan for yourself or your organization. All right, now let's talk about talent pipeline. As you can see on the screen, a talent pipeline is a ready pool of skilled applicants who are ready to step up and fill relevant important roles within the business as soon as they become available. It's not always about that we have an opening and then only we will start with the hiring process. We always have to keep on looking for active and passive candidates who will be able to fill a role in case that role is vacant at some point of time. Just assume, let's say in our organization, there is one person who's working from last 3 years and he's handling a team of 20 members or 30 members. and one day that person is going to leave the organization due to some reason, maybe personal reason, professional reason. Due to some reason that person is going to leave the organization, so we cannot disrupt the entire work environment. We will immediately have to hire for that particular job role. So that can happen if we are building a strong talent pipeline. Internal employees that show promise can be promoted from within the business, so that will be from our internal sources. Otherwise we can go for the external sources. We can take help from the paid online portals, etc., as well as candidates from external sources such as referrals, online job portals, and career web pages can be included in this on hold talent pool. So that is basically like a on hold talent pool. We know that these people deserve to be in the organization for this particular role, but as of now we do not have any opening. As soon as we'll have that position available, we will recruit those people, we will convert those people, onboard them, and they'll start working. And this way we will not disturb the entire environment of the team or the workplace. Let's try to look at some of the benefits of building a strong talent pipeline. Number one, definitely it saves the time and money of the organization. It's a very proactive process. We do not have an opening as of now, but still we are looking forward to people who will be a good fit for a particular role in our organization, because that will save a lot of time, lot of energy when the position will actually be vacant. Then ensures minimal disruption, because as soon as the position will be vacant, we will have one person who will be able to fill that role. That's the advantage of having a talent pipeline. Then elevates the quality of hires. Just imagine if you have only 5 days to hire for a particular leadership role. Definitely the quality may decrease, because you won't have a lot of time to figure out the personality, the CV, the screening test for that person. But if you have a lot of time and you become proactive, you always are in the planning of this thing, then definitely the quality of the hires will be much better, because you will have more time on your table to hire those people, to hire the top talent. And then final one is reduces adaptation anxiety. So when you have to adapt to that changes, there are so many changes that are happening in day-to-day life. So let's say one person is leaving, so there will be a lot of anxiety, a lot of things will be there, and the entire workplace can get disrupted because of one position that is getting vacant. But if you have a talent pipeline ready, you will always have some active or passive candidates who are ready to go for that particular role. And as already discussed, it can be from the internal sources or from the external sources as well. But as soon as that person will take up that role, there will be no disruption, time will be saved, money will be saved, and overall anxiety won't be there. So these are a lot of benefits that comes with building a strong talent pipeline. Alright, now let's talk about employee engagement and retention. Why employee engagement is extremely important and how it is related to employee retention in any organization. That is something we will be exploring in this particular module. As you can see on the screen, employee engagement is the act of creating a happy working environment in which people feel willing and competent to do their best work. If people are not invested in what they are doing, there is no point of hiring the top talent as well. If we have very talented people, but they are not invested in what they are doing, then definitely we will not be able to reap the benefit of that entire hiring process. So in order to make sure that the entire process is very smooth, efficient, and effective, people should feel productive. And in order to make sure that people feel productive, employees in general should be very engaged, invested in whatever they are doing. So there are 3 terms that people are generally confused about. That is employee satisfaction, employee commitment, and employee engagement. So these are 3 different things. So if I say employees are happy with their work, they like what they do, that is nothing but employee satisfaction. That means the employees are satisfied. If I say employees are attached to their work, they are ready to go that extra mile, that means employees are committed. They are satisfied as well as they are committed to their work. But if I say employees are actively invested, engaged in their job, in their work, that means those employees are engaged. That is called your employee engagement. So engaged employees are those who are committed and are enthusiastically involved in their work and workplace. They will always go that extra mile which will benefit the organization as well as their professional journey. So there are a few important points that I have mentioned. Number 1, which is basically that employee engagement is a very good tool for employee retention. If you talk about employee retention, how can we measure whether a person is going to retain within an organization or not? Employees who are satisfied, they may also leave. Employees who are committed, they may also leave. But employees who are invested in what they do, who are engaged, there are very less chances that those people will leave the organization abruptly. So that's the beauty of engaged employees. So if the employees are motivated, they are committed, and they are engaged in what they are doing, that means those employees will retain, which will benefit the organization in the long run. So we can easily say that employee engagement is a very good tool for measuring the employee retention. Whether those people are going to retain or not, that is something we can see how engaged, how invested those people are in their work and in their workplace. Then retaining existing staff cuts down on the high costs of recruitment as well as the time and effort required to train new hires. Why employee retention is extremely important? Why can't we just let go the people who want to go and we can hire new people? Because we'll again have to hire them, which will cost a lot of money, energy and time, and then we will have to train them. Because when we hire somebody, there is always some skill gap. People who are hired will have certain skills, but certain skills they will be trained on, they will be developed, they will be enhanced. To make sure that we don't have to waste our energy, time and money on that, we should always try to keep people who are already there in the organization, who already have the work experience, who are already trained. That's why employee retention is extremely important, and in order to make sure that employees retain, employee engagement is equally important. All right, now let's try to understand the challenges of talent management. When we talk about hiring people, selecting them, onboarding, training and development, what are some of the challenges which are faced by the HRs, by the organizations? Number one, which is a very critical issue, is that absence of staffing management plan. If you do not have a staffing management plan in place, definitely nothing will be implemented in the correct way. So that is one issue, one critical issue. Then ineffective hiring strategies. If the hiring strategies that you are trying to implement to hire the candidates, top talent, if those are ineffective, that can be one issue as well. Then inexperience with technology. In today's world, technology is extremely important. And if the HRs of a particular organization are not fully equipped with technology, they do not know different softwares that they can use, then definitely the process will be delayed and the quality of the hires will also be less. For example, let's talk about hiring people. In the screening, we have to select a lot of resumes. Let's say 1,000 people have applied to a particular role and they have submitted their resume. Now, out of those 1,000 people, we have to select 10 resumes and then we have to take their interviews. If we'll do it manually, it will take a lot of time, but it can easily be done with the help of a software where artificial intelligence will help us and we will be getting those 10 particular resumes that we have to select. So if we implement a software, then definitely the processes will be much easier. It will save our time, energy as well as our money. Then ineffective leadership. Definitely if leadership is ineffective, we will not have a clear goal, we will not have a clear vision, and overall plan, we won't be able to implement that. So that can be one important challenge when we talk about talent management. Then unclear goal setting. If the goal setting is not clear or it is not attainable, it is not realistic, then also we will not be able to achieve what we have planned for. So there's always a position where we are right now and there's always a desired position. If you want to reach to that desired position from your current position, we should have a proper plan in place, we should have a proper execution in place, and we should also know what are the areas of improvement, and then we have to improve that. So in general, when you talk about talent management, there are three things. First of all, you have to plan everything. Staffing management plan, hiring plans, each and everything, proper job evaluation, job description, everything should be ready. Proper planning should be there. Once the proper planning is done, then comes the execution part of it. You should know how to execute that plan and then how to control it. What are the areas of improvement in that? And then improve those areas. So improvement, in fact, continuous improvement is also a very important part of it. So these three things, that is planning and then controlling and also seeing that what are the issues in that and then improving according to that. These three things are extremely important when we talk about talent management. All right. So now that you have reached to the summary part, I'm really glad that you have covered all the previous modules and you have reached to this particular module. In this module, we will be summarizing all the things that we have already discussed in this particular course briefly. As you can see on the screen, in this entire cycle of talent management, the very first step is HR planning or the manpower planning, where we evaluate a job. We try to understand how many people are actually required to perform a task, to do a particular project, and how many people we currently have. We try to find that talent gap. Once the talent gap is found, we make the staffing plans and then we start with the hiring process. For that, we do the proper job evaluation, which should be very, very detailed. We take feedback from the managers as well as the current employees to try to understand that what exactly is the knowledge, skills, abilities which is required for a particular job role. Once all of that is done, we prepare the JD, that is job description, and we start with attracting the candidates, which is the second step of this cycle, talent management cycle. Attracting, where we try to attract people. It can be from our internal sources or from our external sources. And then finally, once a lot of people have applied to a particular job role, we have to start with selection. We cannot take all the people who have applied to a particular role. So we have to screen them. We have to filter them. Now, how do you do that? You can take tests. A lot of tests can be conducted, such as psychometric tests, some aptitude tests, depending upon the job role. Then interviews can be taken. There are some case studies around. Depending upon the job role, we can take tests, we can take interviews, we can have group discussions, and finally we can filter out people. Once the people are filtered, then the offer letter is given to those people and they are onboarded in the organization, where we make them understand that what are the rules and regulations of the company, what exactly is the company about. Proper onboarding is done. Once that is done, then we start with the training and development programs, which actually is an ongoing process in the talent management cycle. Why? Because once people are hired within the organization, we cannot expect them to know each and everything. They will have certain skills, but certain skills we will have to develop, we will have to train them on. For that, we have training and development programs. There are various methods that HR's organizations use to train their employees. Once the employees are trained, they are fully ready to work, then they actually start working. And now, in order to retain those people, employee engagement is extremely important. We have seen that employee engagement is a very important tool when it comes to employee retention. Retaining people is extremely important. If we won't be able to retain those people that we have hired, definitely we will be losing on a lot of time, energy, and money. So we always have to make sure that the environment of the company is very positive, the culture is good, so that people are committed in whatever they are doing. They are invested in their job, in their work, as well as in their workplace. They are ready to go that extra mile. For everybody, work is different. For some people, work is social identity. For some people, work is nothing but just a medium to get money. For everyone, the definition of work is different. The organization should have a culture where we can try to fit all those definitions, so that everyone is invested in whatever they are doing. And then final step of this talent management cycle is transitioning, which is the part where the employees will have to leave the organization. So the exit interviews, succession planning, all those things are part of transitioning, where one person will leave the organization and that particular role is replaced by their newer counterparts. So that's all talent management is about. I'm really glad that you have covered all modules. Thank you so much for attending this session.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any query or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.